Hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to look at lesson 13.2, identify and draw angles. So our learning target is identify and draw angles. And our success criteria, how we know we've met that learning target, is if you can identify angles as right, straight, acute, or obtuse, and that you can name and draw angles. So we're going to look at some vocabulary words together and talk about their definitions first. The first one we're going to talk about is angle. Now, an angle is formed by two rays or line segments that have a common endpoint called a vertex. The rays or line segments are the sides of the angle. So here we have one ray, and here we have the second ray. And they are joined at a common endpoint called the vertex. So here's where we have our vertex. So this is an example of an angle. Now we can name them in many different ways. And the three ways that we can name this angle are represented by these miniature pictures of an angle. So we name the first one like this, and then we have this little angle symbol here that represents an angle. So we know that this represents an angle. So we name it like this, and then we say it angle ABC. The second one is represented this when we name it, and then when we say it, it is angle CBA. And then the last way we can name an angle looks like this, and it says angle B. Now our next vocabulary word is we're going to look at how we can classify angles. Angles can be either right, straight, acute, or obtuse. Our first vocabulary word is right angle. A right angle is an L-shaped angle. And usually with a right angle, you will have this representation here of where our vertex is. And that is a partial square that shows that that is where our vertex lies. And this is a right angle. Now, right angles can be moved in different directions, but it's an L-shaped angle. The next one is a straight angle. A straight angle forms a straight line. And now we remember from our lesson 13.1 that a straight line has an arrow on either side and it goes on infinitely, forever, in both directions. The next one is an acute angle. Now, an acute angle is open less than a right angle. So here we have this shaded ray that shows that this is a right angle. And the acute angle here is less than that right angle. I like to think of it as a small and a very cute angle. And now the last vocabulary word is obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is open more than a right angle and less than a straight angle. So here we have that shaded right angle again, and then we have that shaded right, and then this obtuse angle is open more than that right angle. Now it can't be a straight angle because it needs to be less than a straight angle. So here we have the obtuse angle. So we're going to look at an example together. And here we're going to look at this angle here. Now remember that the vertex is that shared endpoint. Okay, so the vertex is right here. And we can write the angle in three different ways. So three names for the angle are, now remember this symbol means that we're talking about an angle. So we have angle K. We can use just the vertex here to name this angle. Another way that we can do this kind of by connecting the dots here. So another way we can name the angle is angle LKJ. So we start here with the 1 point, go to our endpoint or our vertex, and then go up to the second point, making angle LKJ. And then the last way is we can name it this way, angle JKL. So we simply go the other way, start at this point, go to the vertex, and then it's kind of like connecting the dots and go to the last point. So angle JKL. And then the angle opens blank, a right angle and less than a straight angle. So we're going to think of it as a more than a right angle or less than a right angle. So let's think about if this is more than a right angle or less than a right angle. I'll give you a moment to think about that. If you said more than, you'd be correct. Give yourself a pat on the back. Excellent job. It is more than a right angle and less than a straight angle. So we're going to classify this angle together, and we're going to think if it is an acute, obtuse, right, or straight. I'll give you a moment to think about that. When we think about that, pay attention to it's more than a right angle and less than a straight angle. If you said obtuse, you're right. Excellent job. So we're going to go through some other examples together. Okay. The first one here, we're going to look at our directions. It says choose a name for the angle. And we're going to look at here, we have our two rays joined at our vertex or our common endpoint. And then I'm going to look at this representation here by the angle to kind of give me a clue, okay, for both parts of this question. So here we have angle. Now I'm going to look at my different options here. Remember, this one represents a line segment, and this one is a ray. This one is a line, and this one is an angle. So I'm going to choose the name for this angle. Give you a moment to think about that. If you said the first choice, you're right. Great job. Now I'm going to classify this angle. Again, I'm going to look at what it shows within my vertex here and what shape of my angle. Now, remember we talked about if it's an L shape, if it's greater than a right angle, if it is greater than a right angle, less than a straight angle, or less than a right angle. So I'm going to look at my choices. Either right, straight, acute, or obtuse. I'll give you a moment to think about that one. Take a look at that angle. If you said right, you'd be correct. Again, give yourself a pat on the back, give your brain a kiss. Great job, excellent thinking. And we got them both right. Let's go to the next question. We need to choose a name for this angle. Now, we know it looks kind of like a straight line. And when we look at that, we need to think about how we want to name this angle. Okay, when we name this angle, we go from, if it looks like this straight line here, we're going to look left and go to the right. And this is our vertex or our endpoint, or excuse me, our shared endpoint. So we always go in this way when it's a straight line. So we're going to look here for those from left to right in order. So we have angle XYZ, angle ZXY, angle YZX, or just angle X. And we go with this one. So if you said that one before I selected the answer, excellent job. Now stay engaged in this, because this is just like when we're in class, even though you're not with me. I want you to help out and answer these questions and challenge your thinking, stretch your brain, see if you can apply what we've learned. Okay, now we're going to classify this angle as either right, straight, acute, or obtuse. I'll give you a moment to think about that. Take a look at our angle, and we're going to classify. I'll give you a moment to think. If you said straight, you'd be correct. So again, give yourself a pat on the back. Excellent, excellent job. Let's go to the last one together. So we're going to look at our directions. It says angle FGH is acute. Draw and label the angle. So we first have to draw it. Now we know it's acute. And an acute angle is less than a what? If you said right angle, you're right. So it's less than a right angle. So I'm going to draw something a little bit less than a right angle. Now remember, an angle has two rays, so we need to draw an arrow on either side, on both of our rays. Then we need a point here, a point here, and then we need our vertex or our common or shared endpoint. So now we have angle FGH. Now we can start it at one side of the ray and then work our way to our vertex and go to the next point on the next ray. Or we can start at the top and kind of work our way down here to the second side or that second ray. but I'm going to choose to do it from here. So I'm going to start here with F, and then in the middle, our middle letter is always our vertex or our endpoint, our shared endpoint, that is G. And then we have our H. So we say this as angle FGH. Or remember, we can do it in the opposite way, angle HGF. But this one's asking for angle FGH. Excellent job. Stay focused with me. I want you to think about how you feel about where you are in your learning, how you feel about the lesson today. So you can share with your parents as to whether or not you feel you have a thumb up, a thumb to the side, or a thumb down. Now, remember, you can always ask me questions about something you're not sure of in regards to your math lesson through an email, through Google Classroom, through a GoGuardian message. You can always go back to rewatch this video. And then don't forget, we have our independent practice. Again, you can go back and watch this video if you need help throughout your independent practice. Utilize your online textbook to help you with the math problems on our independent practice today. Do your absolute best. I'm going to have a video tomorrow to go through our examples together, and then as well as a review. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and do the best on all of your work.